Okay, folks, this is Invest Now America. I'm your host. Want to thank you guys for tuning in again. I've been doing this series of local entrepreneurs for the past couple of weeks, and every interview has been an interesting one. I just absolutely love talking to entrepreneurs because, let's face the facts, they're the glue, they're the engine of one of the U.S. economy. And as you guys know, U.S. economy is one of the largest and most powerful and successful economies in the world. And yet the reason why it's so large and successful is because entrepreneurs like our sister here today, Desiree Clark. Name of her company is OMG Free, OMG Free, and that's Desiree Clark. So we're going to talk to this sister today about her company. Sis, what does that stand for, OMG Free?
OMG Free stands for Only Made Gluten Free.
Oh, okay. Now let me ask another dumb question here. What's gluten?
Gluten is basically a nutrient or an ingredient that's pretty much in everything. And it's a nutrient that people like me, with celiac disease cannot digest.
Mm. And the reason why I asked that is because I had a friend, her and her husband are out and about somewhere, and she became extremely severely ill. And she said when it's all said and done, they told her, you need to avoid gluten as much as possible. And I didn't even know what gluten was, but it scared the heck out of me. So, but you say it's in most everything. Is that what you just said?
Yes, so gluten is in pretty much everything. By everything, I mean I have to watch out for not only in my foods, I have to check the seasoning, the
Mm.
oil, that any sugar, um, anything that we digest. But it also goes for like shampoo, toothpaste. I found fingernail polish and my makeup.
So gluten, there are a lot of folks out there who they really have to watch, I guess, their gluten intake. Is that the way to put it?
Yes. So it's more of being like gluten sensitive or gluten intolerant. However, I have celiac disease, so I cannot digest anything that has gluten in it at all.
Mm. And now is that, how many people do you estimate the United States has that disease?
According to research, it's about 3 million people, and the rest of the people are undiagnosed because you develop many other autoimmune disorders. So I also developed IBS and acid reflux because my celiac went undiagnosed for so long. And
Wow.
the average diagnosis is 8 to 10 years.
Okay. So here you are. You have this company, OMG Free. Obviously, your situation, that's what motivated you to say, look, I want to produce some stuff with that a whole lot of that gluten stuff in it. Is that correct? Or tell us your story, basically.
So my story starts out basically, I was getting sick eating regular foods. It started with my wedding. I was throwing up everything that I was eating, so my body was rejecting the foods.
Hmm.
Everyone thought I was pregnant, and I was not. My doctor removed my gallbladder. I had a colonoscopy, endoscopy, all the other things, and no one could find the cause besides IBS and acid reflux. I ended up switching doctors, and I went to a Indian doctor that everyone was like, hey, they're really good at finding out if you have a digestive issue, give them a try. I did. They did a blood test, and the blood test came back for positive celiac panels. So I almost fainted when I found out, because I kind of had a small idea about it, because when I would go to restaurants, you will often see certain sections that says this is gluten free, and you see the options are like very limited or no options at all. And knowing that that was now my new lifestyle, wasn't just a diet. Like, you can't go to everyday events, birthday parties. Who wants to watch people eat birthday cake? Family gatherings.
Hmm.
Who wants to watch people eat and they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to check if that's gluten free, or we don't have anything gluten free, but you can still come, but you can eat before or eat afterwards. Who
Hmm.
wants to do that? It's
Right.
like we're being kind of discriminated against, because it's like you can't eat with us, but it's like we're still people too. And then, not to mention, our food costs more just to have one less ingredient,
Right.
and it digests faster. So we're hungry a lot more. Our food costs a lot more, doesn't taste that good. And the recipes that I was finding, it was kind of like, if this is what's going to take me out in the world, then God, you're gonna have to take me now because if I can't get no good mac and cheese or the things that I'm used to eating, some
Right.
good yams, a good pot of greens, some nice seasoned chicken or some smoked turkey,
Right.
if I can't get my good cornbread,
Right. There you
we
go.
got some problems.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I've decided to open my small business right before Thanksgiving because it was like, wait a minute, if I can't eat these things and I know other people can't eat these things and not everyone can cook. So that's pretty much like a SOL if you cannot cook and you are celiac. So it's just kind of like you're stuck with what you can find.
Right.
So I basically did research to learn how to make gluten-free foods.
Okay. And so your company specifically does like gluten-free dishes, or is there a particular product or two that you do? I mean, what specific
So
company doing?
I do gluten-free dishes, but I also like have other parts of my brand. So the food is just the first part. Like I have a cookbook that I'm working on. I'm working with other people behind the scenes to work on like things where I can have our life be a little bit more normal. So like there's a three-part plan that I have to make a small change in the celiac community. I have people from here to Italy to across the world that follow me because I'm one of a brand. There
Mm,
is no one that's black like me making the foods that I'm making and still letting it taste as normal as possible.
right.
Baked goods, I can't really fix the flours, but I can still help with the taste.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan was to start with a grocery store because in order for us to make a meal, I have to go to at least 3 to 4 grocery stores because not one every one store carries everything. So I have to go to Walmart, Kroger, Meijer, and Aldi
Mm,
in whatever order just to find whatever I'm looking for. And that's not just saying one Kroger. If this Kroger don't have it, then I have to go to another Kroger. If one Walmart doesn't carry it, then I have to go to the other Walmart. That kind of thing. So
right.
I wanted to start with a grocery store, kind of like a Sam's Club, Costco membership, where people that are celiac can come get what they need. And of course, I will still be able to make a profit, but you get what you need. So that way you don't have to spend 3 hours grocery shopping and reading every ingredient. I've
Exactly.
taken the hard part out for you. I'm now giving you an extra hour or two in your day or in your week with your family.
There you
I
go.
can't really fix the need for cooking right now because I'm trying to look for a restaurant space. And of course, I need investors for that.
Mhm.
And that will be also to make the second dedicated restaurant in Louisville, Kentucky. However, I will be the first Black owned restaurant ever. So that's a traveling point because we have places where if we can't eat, we're not going there.
Right.
And if you only have so many options, I don't want to come and I'm only stuck with one or two or whatever the many restaurants options I have. And
Now,
other ones, mhm,
how do you reach? Now, what's the name of that disease again? Tell me that.
celiac disease.
Celiac. How do you reach other folks who are suffering from that?
So we just pretty much go to social media and you just find support groups.
Okay.
So is what I'm also working on is a nonprofit that's tied in to my business
Mm-hmm.
where I will be able to help people transition. Because in Canada, they actually give you a transition because when you find out, it's literally brand new almost everything because you don't want to risk cross contamination. And it's literally a lifestyle change. Like my daughter has to wash her hands and my husband has to wash his hands and brush his teeth like before touching me because I don't want to get headaches and have skin breaking out and other adverse effects just
Oh, have
because
mercy. Yes.
gluten's around and it's like even the smallest crumb can really really make a difference in our day. So even going to work, I had to switch jobs so I can be less than a mile from home so I can come home and eat instead of wiping down the whole cafeteria or kitchen space just to use it and
Mm.
still risk cross contamination of getting sick.
Lord have mercy. And I've never heard this before. I mean, I guess that's what my friend had. Because I tell you, she said,
It's considered a disability. It literally you can apply as a disability. It's its own thing. It has autoimmune disease and
uh-huh.
then it has celiac disease.
Wow. That's a, well, all right. Now let me ask you this.
Hmm.
I'm a Big Mac guy. I walk around. People look at my stomach and they say, "Well, when's the baby due?" So can I eat your stuff and find it tasty or whatever?
So the funny thing is, I have more regular customers than I do celiac customers because
Huh.
I don't have a dedicated kitchen where people with celiac disease can actually come and eat the food without risk of cross contamination. So that's why I'm looking to get investors for that said restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Regular people, I make the food and let them come eat it. Or if I have a host or if I'm doing something, everyone automatically knows it's gluten free. If you don't know them, people eat it and I'm like, oh wow, this kind of tastes a little better than normal. Then I explain to them, thank you for coming to my gluten free tasting. I hope you liked it. And everybody's like, wow, I can't believe this was gluten free, which is pretty much the OMG, like, oh my God, it's gluten free.
Huh. That's interesting. So you got you you potentially can your market's potentially everybody, but
It is
primarily
everyone.
but primarily for folks who suffer from that. I mean, that's a pretty
Yeah,
severe
like
disease.
instead of excluding us, I want to include the people like me
Right.
with food allergies, sensitivities, and tolerances, and also welcome their families because there's actually a woman that reached out to me that told me that she would love for me to cater her son's birthday because his birthday party for last year was so bad that all the kids, he's 5, said they didn't want to come anymore because the food was nasty and he has celiac disease. And the options we have is it is pretty nasty. Like I was depressed the first 2 months I found out because I was like, how am I supposed to make this work?
Right.
God, I've been through a lot of things, but when it comes to food, I don't know if I'm, fit for this. And then,
Right.
a lot of trial and error, burned meals, frustrations, flour dough across the house.
Right.
Later, I started being able to perfect my meals and learning how to make foods. Like you literally have to know how to recook gluten-free foods. It's not something you learn overnight. This is not something that happens overnight. Like all this information I've learned and gained within a year.
Right. Right. And you say you were doing a recipe book.
Yes, because I only want to make the foods that I make. Most gluten-free foods we get is like Mexican because it's corn-based,
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. So the goal is to make the first like regular, normal gluten-free cookbook where you can get baked spaghetti and you can get a nice
Oh.
old, soul food meal, or you can get whatever it is you're looking for, a nice salmon croquette meal, or if
Right.
I'm just doing something where I want to make some real quick mozzarella sticks, or people have asked me, how do I make my donuts? It's just stuff like that where people normally wouldn't be able to make it
Right.
and creating basically a market to where other people that have celiac disease of other ethnicities will want to specialize in it. Like we need an all gluten-free Italian restaurant.
Hmm.
There's like I want to inspire people to like quit making our options so limited. Like I can learn what I can learn. I'm not perfect in everything, but the food that I can cook, I guarantee you can put me next to somebody that can cook some regular food and we can go toe to toe. My lemon pepper wings are better than Wingstop and Wing Station.
Wow. Look. How can people get a hold of you? Website, email. Give it all to me.
So my email is
Uh-huh.
omgfree365 at gmail.com.
Uh-huh. Okay.
My Facebook and Instagram are OMG Free LLC.
Uh-huh.
My TikTok is Celie S or CELIEE, the celiac, and it's THECELIAC.
Okay.
And then my website is from GoDaddy. That is 1 second. It's OMG Free LLC dot GoDaddySites.com.
Okay. All right. We will put that up. This is interesting. I never heard of this before. That type of disease. You said
Mm-hmm.
over 3 million folk, and then
In
on top of
America.
that, in the United States, and then on top of that, there may be more folk who have this but don't know it. Because it
Mm-hmm.
took you a while to find out that you had it, didn't it?
Yes, it took me longer than the average person because unlike most people thought I was exaggerating when I couldn't always eat my food or
Right.
call me hypochondriacs or whatever the case may be. And
Wow.
it literally took me almost dying for a second time in life to let someone know, like, hey, this is something's really wrong. Like, there's no reason why I should not be able to eat normal food. Or
Right.
when it's time to come to eat, I know I'm immediately be sick or I'm gonna have to lay down because I just don't feel well.
Wow. Wow. So you probably plan on putting out a short bio on yourself, don't you? Self-publishing a biography, don't, or autobiography.
Yes, so I do have an autobiography that I'm doing, but it's in addition to this. I'm actually writing it about my life story,
Okay.
which is going to be called Trial of 98. That is just basically letting people know that when I was 6, my mom set our house on fire with me. I was 6, my brother was 5, my 2-year-old brother, and she was then pregnant with my other brother. My 2-year-old brother died. I testified against her, and she went to court, went to prison for life. And but in that testimony, I was forced to tell a lie with the truth.
Mm. Wow.
So she's writing her 2 books about life going into prison and what led up to the house fire
Right.
and whatever happens after. And then I'll be writing my 2 books on before, during prison, and whatever happens after.
Right. Right.
And a lot more does happen after.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that's another. That's a different interview right there. That's
And then you
like
add celiac in there, and then it's like,
right.
girl, that's why I said, God, I've dealt with a lot of things. I've been literally set on fire and trapped in a house. And
Wow.
celiac almost took me out because it was just something that I had to literally live with every day, every second, every minute. Like, there's no days
Well,
off.
I just couldn't imagine having to live that way because I'm like I'm like most people, man. I just walk on in there. Hey, man, give me them chicken wings and give me them wedges. I don't have to think about it.
Mm-mm.
But you can't do that.
Nope. There's no
It's-
more eating out, really. Like, I can go to WW Cousins sometimes, depends on the restaurant. Sometimes people don't go because of cross contamination, but I'm actually friends with the people that work there because I let them know the seriousness of it.
right.
Chick-fil-A does really, really good at accommodating us. Um, Other like big cities that are more like um in tune, they're
Right.
really good with offering options. But once again, I've traveled to Dallas, I've traveled to Austin, Texas, I've traveled to Tampa,
It's
Indianapolis,
educating people.
educating people, but also looking for someone like me. And I have not found anyone willing to offer anything that I'm trying to offer,
Right.
which is just a normal, like, we want, regular foods. We don't want to have to come in and get a sandwich or
Right.
whatever it is you feel like serving us, because you feel like if you don't serve us, then you're, just one of the people that don't, or you're just going to give us what you feel like giving us and we're going to eat
Right.
it because we don't have any other choice. And I refuse to accept it.
Wow, that's amazing. Look, this is Vest Now America. I'm your host. We have with us here Sister Desiree Clark. Name of her company is OMG Free, folks. She has an amazing story, like really all great entrepreneurs. She has an amazing, interesting story. She's even talked about putting out a book. I hope she does it on Amazon so they do that with their pre-sales because I am going to get one. Probably get a couple to be perfectly honest with you. And her Gmail is omgfree365 at gmail.com. I'm sure people can reach out to you and say, hey, where are you at? What are you cooking? What can I buy from you? They can do that there,
Yes, and I am in Louisville, Kentucky.
right there in Louisville. So, sis, thank you so much for your time today. I hope that maybe we can do this again sometime. I'd love to talk to you again once you've
Certainly.
completed your recipe book. Okay,
Sure.
and hopefully maybe even help some old fat guy like me start eating better.
Let me know if you're ever in the area. If I'm ever in the area, I'll certainly bring you some lunch.
All right, thank you, my sister.